I flew into Tobias's territory, also territory at least one real horned owl wouldn't be happy to have me around, belonged to Tobias by day and the owl by night. I knew a tree where Tobias often slept, and sure enough he was there. I stopped beating my wings and glided up. I was already flaring my wings to come in for a landing when Tobias noticed me. It's okay, it's me, Rachel. Oh man, you almost gave me a heart attack. Sorry, it's night, we're in the woods on a hawk and you're an owl comes zooming in. Don't do that kind of stuff, Rachel. I'm just an owl, not an eagle, protested. I knew some eagles and falcons attack hawks. Okay, it's just that hungry owls been known to go after hawks. It doesn't happen a lot, but owls scare me. I never want to see these little cartoon owls and I think all I do is go hoo hoo and act wise, but let me tell you, I watched them work. They aren't cute, they're tough. I don't want to have to fight one. I settled on a branch beside him, setting my talons in a soft bark. I could see why Tobias liked this perch. It was a perfect view of the meadow with all its tasty prey. I'm really sorry, Tobias. I guess I forgot your life can be so dangerous. And it has some advantages too. No more first period gym class. So, what are you doing out here playing owl? I had to get out of the house. Oh, why? Unless it's not my business. I don't know. Nothing. I was just hyper. He didn't say anything. Obviously he knew I was lying. He waited for me to tell him, watching me with those gold brown eyes seem to drill holes through me. But I really didn't want to tell him. I mean, I guess I had to, or else why would I fly to see him? But now it just seemed ridiculous to lay my problems on him. I was just worried about going to the Urk pool again. You worried, ETs? You? I get worried sometimes. I was thinking of flying to the gardens, zoo, maybe get a new morph, something really strong and mean in case you get in a fight. Like a lion or a grizzly bear or something. Maybe you want to fly over with me? Rachel, you know I don't fly much at night. I can't see that well in the dark. Plus there aren't any thermals at night, so I can't soar. I'd have to flap the whole time, and that's miles away. I mean, a little trip around here, sure, if you want to go flying, but that's a haul. Yeah, okay, forget it. So I have an idea. Why don't you tell me what's actually bothering you? You're all weird. You don't seem like you. It's nothing, I said. I'm sorry I scared you. I'm gonna head home. Rachel, you know you can always talk to me, right? Yeah. Look, I have a question for you. Do you ever think about years from now when it's time for college and stuff? As soon as the words on my head, I wish I could call them back. Yeah. But he was cool. He just laughed quietly. Yeah, I was thinking easy A's in ornithology. You know, the study of birds. He'd definitely be a professor. I just meant that sooner or later most of us are gonna leave and move somewhere else. What do we do then if the Yerks are still around? He began preening his feathers. It's something he has to do, but also has a habit when he's bothered. I guess I hadn't really thought that far ahead, but I figured the whole thing would sort itself out one way or the other long before that. The Yerks win, you don't have to worry about college, or they lose and go back to our normal lives. Some of us more normal than others, of course, he added dryly. For a while I didn't say anything because I couldn't. I was too busy hating myself bringing this up to Tobias. Tobias of all people! He was already a casualty in this war, trapped in a Hawkmorph, and here was thinking of bailing out. What's the matter with me? I couldn't leave him living in the forest, leave my best friend Cassia fight and maybe die so I can cut and run, leave Jake and Marco and Axe. Why? Because my dad was lonely and I could take gymnastics classes? Rachel, are you okay? No, I wasn't okay. I felt sick. What's the matter with me? I couldn't leave. I couldn't give up. Me? Of course I'm fine. I lied. Just the same, I think I'll get some extra firepower. Time for Yerk Pool 2 or Animorphs Revenge, right? I don't know. Looks like I'll be sitting out the fight. Don't worry, I said. I'll get a heart badger for you. Are you okay? Really? It seemed like you're upset. Tobias, I'm more than okay. I gotta go. Rachel, go home, Tobias advised. Opened my wings and beat them powerfully, sliding through the dead air of night. But I didn't go home. I flew around for a bit trying to get a grip on the confusion in my head. But I just couldn't. I couldn't go home yet. I knew I'd just lie there in bed with my eyes wide open, so I turned and headed south. From the air, the gardens looks very different to us from the ground. The roller coaster doesn't look nearly as tall or scary, and flying over to the zoo areas you'll see roofs of various interior exhibits. The rest seems at first be sparse woods with cement pathways winding in and through like curled ribbons. Looking closer, I could see a separate habitats. The trees and running stream of the tiger area, the open field for the bison separated by a tall fence from the impalas. I glided over the lions, most hidden by a tree. One female was ranging around restlessly like she was looking for something. Owls are cute. They can be cute. They can also be very scary. It took a while to find the bears. I wasn't interested in the little black bears or the polar bears. I wanted was the grizzlies. I wanted power. There they had a habitat of trees and rocks and deep water moat fed by a tumbling, rushing stream. There were two, a male and female pair. Both were asleep sprawled over the rocks. The male was bigger, and that's what I wanted. Big, powerful, fearless. I was going back to your pool. I wanted something desperately dangerous. Leave? Move out of town? Give up? No way. No way. And my dad, I'd still see him when he came back to town. That's what jets are for, like he said. I landed being a morph back, to revert to my true form. My feathers melted and ran together and became pink. My beak broke into teeth, and my talons became smooth toes. My insides gurgled and squished and slotted. Some organs grew and others changed and others reappeared from nothing. The bear heard the sounds of my bones stretching, which I imagine is very disturbing, and a faint rustle of feathers melting together. He opened one eye and looked at me without understanding or fear. He was well fed, he'd been in the zoo for years and had all but forgotten the awareness of living in the wild. I was just something that smelled a little bit like a bird and a little bit like a human. I reached a trembling hand to touch the rough coat of the grizzly bear. His nearsighted eyes watched me. I was nothing to him. I couldn't hurt me. He could destroy me without bothering to even wake up. He was beyond fear, beyond doubts, beyond pain. It must be nice, I whispered. I touched him and felt his power flow into me. But yet, as I absorbed his DNA and matched something in this fearless creature, I could not forget the look in my father's eyes with a waver in his voice saying, "But gee, Rachel, I think it'd be okay, you know?" I could feel the emptiness is moving and leaving my life. He would say he'd come back every other week. He could say we'd still be together, but I knew it wouldn't be that way. I could imagine packing him to go. I could remember the screams of Yerkpool. I remember Tobias trying to joke about college. Too much. The things that are small and personal and things that are huge all swirled together in my head. Nothing made sense. It was all too much stuff. Too much guilt and fear and loneliness. Too many decisions. Just too much. You know, there are days I don't feel brave or fearless. There are days I just want to go to a ball game with my dad and eat popcorn, tune out everything else, and be a normal kid, but that wasn't the life I had. Not anymore. Chapter 9. The next evening, as planned, we all arrived at the mall separately. I hooked up with Cassie at the food court. "Hi, well, he's surprised seeing you here." "Uh-huh." We did a laugh for curious control might be listening and watch. Pretending to be surprised to see each other. I looked at my watch. Perfect, we have 15 minutes to wander slowly toward the gap. I saw Jake and Axe down by playing video games. Act has said, poor Jake acts a little unpredictable and Hugh more while I was watching he tried to eat a cigarette butt out of an ashtray. Andalites had no mouth and no sense of taste, so whenever Axe played Hugh and found a sense of taste extremely exciting. He'd try and eat anything. I laughed at the image of him chewing out a cigarette butt. I was surprised I could laugh. This was not a mission I was looking forward to. We arrived at the store. Marco says it's in the last dressing room, reminded Cassie, and we had to assume people who work here in the store are all controllers. Speaking of Marco, I wonder if he made it on time. "I'm sure he did," Cassie said. "He seemed kinda into all this lately." "Yeah, what's that about?" She shrugged. "He'll change, I guess. I feel sorry for Tobias not being able to come along. It'll tear him up. On the other hand, I'm jealous." I nodded in agreement. I was feeling hyper again, jazzed, the way I usually did before we said I'd do something dangerous, but more so. I'll admit the Yerkpool scared me. The idea of the awful place made me sick at heart, and now we went back down there. "Time to go to the dressing room," I said. "Pick something you want to try on." She looked at me blankly. "Like what?" I rolled my eyes. "Cassie just cannot shop. She is shopping impaired. Just pretend you're me, grab a sweater or something." I spotted Jake and Axe across the room. Axe's humor was always a little surprising to see because it was a combination of DNA from Jake, Marco, Cassie, and me. He's a guy but sort of pretty with a definite hint of weirdness. I grabbed a sweater for Cassie and held out for her. "Like I would never wear that," she said. "Such dry clean only." We went to the next to last dressing room and closed the door behind us. "Let's do it," I said tersely. We'd all decided the best way to do was to send cockroach morphs. Last time I morphed into roaches, things had not gone well. But roaches are fast, and their senses are good enough to use our purposes, also they might go unnoticed. I was not looking forward to doing the roach body again. Didn't like becoming something that could be stepped on. Besides, if you think looking at a roach is gross, try being one. I looked at Cassie and let out a yelp. 2 large antennae were sprouting from her forehead. "Geez, you could have warned me you were starting." And I always think that every time. They don't need to be facing each other. They could just be looking opposite directions. But anyway. Morphing is not some neat sensible process you gradually turn to something else. It's much weirder. Different things happen at different times. Biparts suddenly appear or others disappear, and the sizes don't always match up till the end. The first thing Cassie's sudden appearance of antennae shot up straight at her forehead like 2 fishing poles. Then her skin started to look crispy looking. At the same time, both shrinking, which feels like it's falling. I mean, you can see the wall shooting up higher and higher. You see the ground rushing up like you're a parachute as the chute doesn't open. Unfortunately, as a dressing room, there are mirrors on 2 sides. Oh. Well, okay, I guess turning around wouldn't help there. "Ah!" I cried, startled by the nauseating sight of my skin on my back melting into huge and hard wings. Cassie's too far gone to say shh, but we held one of her hands that was left to her lips. Just in her extra legs from popping out of her stomach, I think I would have yelled this up I no longer had a mouth. I heard a slurping sound as my bones dissolved and I sagged into my exoskeleton. Yes, body horror for kids. My clothing was piled around like a huge collapsed tent. My human sight was gone now. What I could see was a vague and muddy and shattered into 1,000 pieces, but I had practiced being a roach. I could make sense of the confusing way of seeing. And there were compensations. The antennae I spread from my forehead were amazingly good at reading vibrations and smells. You okay? Asked Cassie. I'm trapped inside my jeans. No, wait there. I'm out. I see you. Yikes, look out, there are pins all over the carpet. The straight pins or steel shafts look big around the crossbar of the swing set. The sharp ends didn't seem very sharp at this size, and the blunt ends like big steel beach balls. Okay, let's get out of the way, I said. I scurried her 6 legs to a corner beneath the small triangular seat. This roach brain really wants to run, Cass said. Tell me about it, I agreed. When you first morph an animal, it's always a struggle to adjust to its particular instincts. We morph roaches forcefully prepare, but the first time I became a roach, all I could do was control the panic. Even now, the roach's jumpy instincts are barely in control. Run, it said, run! I heard loud crashing vibrations, something huge moving over our heads. I couldn't see one to recognize him, but a few seconds later we ran to morph down to our world. Who is I asked? Me, Marco. What, you don't recognize me? After that came Axe, who had morphed back to his alien body, and then a roach. Jake grabbed all the clothing we shed, stuffed it into a bag, and took it away to store in one of the coin lockers in the mall. Then he came back and morphed to his own cockroach form. His only hour of clothing would be sacrificed up in the dressing room. It would look weird, but not as strange as 5 separate sets of clothing. Okay, boys, girls, and bugs, Marco said. This has taken about 15 minutes, we're already down to an hour 45. This is not a morph I want to be stuck in. Amen. Let's move out, Jake said. We scampered like a very tiny, gross arm behind between the divider separating us to the next dressing room. This is the dressing room Marco believed led to the Yerk pool. We can hide under a seat, I said. One of the cooler parts of being a roach is the ability to walk straight up most walls. We shot up the wall and cowered beneath the roof formed by a little triangular seat. I rested facing straight up on the wall. Tiny spines in my legs tripped to little bumps of painted wall. I could see 2 of the airships above me parked like little tobacco-brown cars. Their antennae waved around just like mine did, picking up scents and vibrations. Then suddenly it happened. The door of the dressing room opened. A shape so tall it might as well have been a skyscraper came in. We have company, Marco announced, as if we had noticed. As if our little roach brains were screaming, run, run, run! Then I heard a soft snap. The mirror in the back room of the dressing room swung open. I felt the assault of damp air rich with a mineral scent. I'd smelled that aroma before. Memories came rushing back. Memories I wish I could forget. Let's go, Jake yelled. We turned in the hall, hit the carpet, and blazed for a doorway. The feet of the controller just ahead of us, monstrous billion-sized shoes that lifted and swung ahead, disappearing from sight. We went after the controller, and the door closed behind us. We're in, Jake said. Oh, goody, Marco replied. Chapter 10. Down to the Yerk pool. The very last place I ever wanted to go again. The first time I went to Yerk pool complex, we'd take an incredibly long stairway. This time it was more of a ramp. It wound downward at an easy angle, no worse than walking down a driveway. Under roach bodies that barely experience gravity as it is, like walking on level ground. Under our scampering feet there were bare dirt covered by footprints. We climbed in and out of depressions seemed to be several feet deep by our cockroach standards. We let the controller pull away from us even though we moved as fast as he was. No point in taking the risk of getting stepped on. It was dark all around, but only the occasional bare electric bulb, high overhead like a dim sun. Still, we had to be careful not to be seen. Our antennae were tuned for any vibration might be in our controller on the path. Down and down we went, twisting and curving between rock walls. Axe, how are we for time? Jake asked. Axe will keep perfect time even without a watch. It's very useful. 28 of your minutes have passed since Cassie and Rachel are in Morph. You know, Axe, they're your minutes now too, Margaret said to make some conversation. I mean, we're all here together in good old Earth when we have one kind of minutes. We had 2 hours total in any Morph. At 2 hours and 1 we'd be stuck, like Tobias. And this one time I actually agree with Marco. I was not interested in being a roach forever. Stairs up ahead, Cassie reported. Over, down, 75 steps, and at last we sensed the walls were no longer hemming us in. The path had emerged from the cavern itself. Our roach eyes couldn't see it, but I remember the first time I looked down in the Yerk pool. It was a vast underground cavern, larger than any of those big sports domes. The stairways and path emerges from all sides, right about where the upper tier of seats would be in a sports dome. In the center of the air was a pool, a sludgy, muddy-looking lake that seemed to seethe with the massive Yerk slugs inside, but that was not the worst. 2 piers are built out over the lake. One was where the controllers, human, Harbinger, Taxa, and other things, discharged the Yerks in their head. The Harbinger guards would watch carefully as each controller knelt by the far end of the pier and held his head down close to the surface. The Yerk slug would slither out and drop with a flat splash in the lake. That's when he discovered whether the controller was voluntary or someone had taken against his will. See, the voluntary ones, when we would chosen to turn themselves over, would stand up and calmly walk away. The involuntary hosts would realize they were temporarily free of the evil alien in their heads and begin to have more control of their minds and bodies. Some would scream, some would cry, many would beg to be released. A few would even try to escape, but the Harbinger would just there to grab them and haul them to cages. That's where they would await the moment where they'd be taken to the second pier. The second pier is a place where Yerks, now strong from their swim in the pool and full of nutrition, would slither back inside their host. When I had nightmares about the Yerk pool, and I had those nightmares a lot, it would always be about that second pier. The voluntary hosts would kneel and receive Yerks back in their brains. The involuntaries would struggle. They'd fight, curse, someone would dare the Harbinger to kill them. We were on a ramp again. No one would say anything for a while as we raced lower and lower, deeper, closer and closer. The memories in all of our minds. It's that Axe who had not been here before. I wish I could see more clearly, Axe said. I wish I could see what's going on. No, you don't, I told him. Chapter 11. We are at the end of the ramp. We reached the flat floor of the cavern. So now what, Cassie wondered? We used up at least 3/4 an hour. 41 of your minutes, Axe said. Okay, Jake said. You guys remember there are buildings all around the edge of the cavern, set back from the Yerk pool? Most of them are probably storage. Some may be generators and air purifiers, but some may be offices, control rooms, or even home to Cadrona. We need to check out some of those buildings. Well, it is what bugs do best, Marco joked. Wish we had found a bug more with better eyes. How are we going to even find these buildings? I can't see them a couple of feet in front of me. Don't need to, Cass said. We can smell. There are humans here. I don't know about Harbinger or Taxons, but they're humans they must eat. And I swear I smell French fries. She was right. I didn't know if there were fries. My roach brain definitely detected food. Go for the fries, Jake said with a laugh. We burrowed away from the dusty ground and just had a wall loomed. It's easy enough to find a crack. A roach could slide through a crack no thicker than a quarter. We emerged in a brilliant light and saw the sounds and smells. So, where do you think we are? Marco asked. This looks like linoleum under us, said. Dirty linoleum. Feel a lot of vibrations, lots of feet, I'm guessing, and voices too. To me, it makes sense of them. I smell humans, Axe confirmed. Humans don't smell us, only half joking. Oh, humans smell, Axe argued. It's not a bad smell. So like an animal back in my plant called a flar. So we have French fries and humans. Are we telling me we reached the Yerk Pool McDonald's? It was some kind of lunch or something. It'd be a good place to listen to conversations, Cass said. Maybe get closer, crawl up under a table. We should be able to... Suddenly there's a shadow over us, something huge is overhead, blocking out the harsh fluorescent light. Now that is not a human smell, Axe said. I can smell it too, it's familiar. I don't like it. Something I smelled before, I can't get my human memory and Roshan's here. It smells like Taxon Tassia suddenly. Look, that tree trunk thing up there, I think it's a Taxon leg. Oh, gross, I hate those things. Look out! Heard one never in the floods and sky and incredible speed came something like a bright red whip. I powered my 6 legs in instant response, but it was too fast. The wet rip slapped the ground all around me, like an awful wet quilt. Something like glue oozed around me, seeping under my shell and going up my legs. No, I screamed. I'm trapped, Marco cried. I was off the ground, my back was glued to the red whip and I was hurtling through space. I caught a wild glimpse of the air, struck the red whip just like me. What's happening, Cassie cried. It's a Taxon accident. I think it's about to consume us. We were stuck on a frog-like tongue of attack as the evil creature slurped his tongue back down his throat. I can't get loose, Jake yelled, and instantly without warning, death had come for us. I was glued down, helpless, the Taxon's red tongue stuck back into its mouth, and then... everything, everywhere, stopped. Chapter 12. The sticky red whip of the Taxon's tongue had stopped moving, but it was more than that. Nothing was vibrating as my antennae. There were no sounds. There was no smells because the air had stopped moving, and then without meaning to, it began to demorph. What's going on, I asked. I'm demorphing, I said, but it wasn't me doing it. Are we dead? Is this some kind of hallucination? If it is, I'm having it too, Jake said. I grew swiftly larger and larger. My central pair of cockroach legs dwindled and disappeared. My lower legs swelled and grew skin. I fell from Taxon's tongue into the ground, too large and heavy to be stuck. Toes appeared, fingers, true human eyes. I looked around, dazed and disoriented. The others were all here. We're all human, barefoot and dressed in our skin-tight morphing outfits like we're always when we come out of morph. Ash's back as an allied body just added to the general weirdness. We were inside a building. As we guessed, it was a lunchroom. There was a kitchen on one side. There was a dozen long tables down the middle of the room. People sat at tables eating, only they weren't eating. They were holding forks, looking down at plates of food, getting ready to speak, holding mugs of coffee, but no one was moving. No one was breathing. The steam rising from the mugs of coffee was frozen and still as a photograph. Okay, I'm ready to wake up now, Marco said. This dream is getting weird. Look, I said, Harbinger. 2 of them were standing by the door. I've never seen one staying still before, but even frozen in place they were frightening. 7 feet of knife-edged arms, legs, heads, and tails. Shark salad shears on legs, as Marco said, walking razor blades. And there was a Taxon, the one about to eat us. A monstrously big centipede as big as a concrete sewer pipe, and a round red mouth at the top of its worm body. A long red whip of a tongue stuck out and hung in the air. I have an idea, Marco said. If this is a dream, let's get out of here. Definitely, I agreed. Move, Jake said loudly. We ran to a door of the lunchroom out into the vast and turning openness of the cavern. Outside the same freeze had occurred. The surface of the Yerk pool was still. The humans Harbinger who were involuntary hosts were frozen in their cages, screaming and crying and shouting out movement or sound. On the infestation pier, one was bent low over the water, held down by a Harbinger. A Yerk was halfway into her ear. She was crying. Her tears were motionless on her cheeks. And then I saw something moving. One single thing in that eerie silence. A boy. He was tall, a little gangly. He had hair that looked like it had never been combed. Look, it's Tobias. Yaris turned to see. Tobias shrugged his human shoulders, up his hands and stared at his fingers. It's me, he said, sounding like he doubted. My old body. It's here. I ran to him. I don't know why I just did. I wanted to touch him and know he was real. Ah! Ah! He yelled. He jumped back and suddenly threw his arms up and down. He was flapping, trying to get away, trying to fly. I scared him by rushing at him. I'm sorry, he whispered, totally embarrassed. Sorry. I pulled my arms around him and hugged him tightly. Tobias, what's going on? I don't know. I was flying and then suddenly I was here. Like this. Time has stopped, Axe said, for everyone but us. I can feel it. Something is very wrong, Cass said darkly. Is this some trick of Visser 3's? This is not your technology, I can tell you that. This is far beyond them. Far beyond us Andalites as well. What? Humility from an Andalite. Ah! Marco screamed. The voice came from everywhere at once. But from nowhere. It wasn't a voice, really. It wasn't even thought speak. It was like an idea just popped into your head. The words exploded like bursting balloons inside your own thoughts. I spun around looking for the source ready to fight if needed. No, Rachel. There is no threat. It knows your name, Tobias hissed. I glanced at Axel, but he'd gone rigid. He wasn't frozen, he was afraid. He was shaking. Axelmi Iskroth Ishtil has begun to guess what I am. Elmist, Axel said. Do not be afraid. I will appear in a physical form you can understand. The hair directly in front of me, no, not in front, but behind? Beside? Around? I can't explain it. The air just opened. Like there was a door and nothing. Just like the air was solid. It's impossible to explain. But the air opened, and he appeared. He was humanoid. 2 arms and legs, a head where a human head would be. His skin was glowing blue as if he was a light bulb that had painted over so the light still shone through him. He seemed like an old man with a force of energy that was not frail. His hair was long and white. His ears were pointed up and swept into points, and his eyes were black holes that seemed to be full of stars. I am an Elmist, he said, speaking in actual voice, as your Andalite friend has guessed. As was shaking so badly I might fall over. Be at peace, Andalites. Look at your human friends. They do not fear me. They don't know what you are, Axe managed to say. The Elmist smiled. Ah, but neither do you. All you know are the fairy tales your people tell the children. Well, how about something tell us who and what you are, I said. I wasn't in the best mood. It was a very bizarre environment surrounded by humans, Harbinger, and Taxons in the very heart of the enemy stronghold. They're all frozen, but that could change. To be honest, I was scared, and when I get scared, I get mad. He looked at me. You cannot begin to understand what I am. They are all-powerful, Axe said simply. They could cross 1,000,000 light years in an instant. They can make entire worlds vanish. They can stop time. This one doesn't look all that powerful, Marcus said skeptically. Don't be a fool, Axe snapped. That's not his body. He has no body. He is everywhere at once, inside your head, in the planet, inside the fabric of space and time. So, why are you here, Jake asked Elmus? Why all of this? Why'd you bring Tobias here? Obviously, you saw right through our morphs, Margaret said. You knew who we are. You even know our names. You brought us all together. Why? Because you must decide, the Elmus said. Decide what? I demanded. The fate of your race, the Elmus said. The fate of the human race. Chapter 13. Oh, that's all, Margot asked. Just the fate of the race, our human race. Don't you have anything challenging for us? But he wasn't paying attention to Margot. We do not intervene in the private affairs of other beings, but when they are in danger of becoming extinct, we step in to save a few. We love life, all life, but especially sentient life forms like Homo sapiens. Your species. This is a very beautiful planet, a priceless work of art. You've obviously never seen our school, Margaret said, still giddily trying to joke. But suddenly without warning, the Elmus did again. He opened space. We were no longer in a Yerk pool. We were no longer underground at all. We were underwater. Deep underwater, but the water did not seem to touch my skin. When I breathed, there was air, but I still felt fear tingle at the back of my neck. We stood, me, Cassie, Jake, Marco, Axe, and Tobias, in his own human body in the middle of this ocean, suspended in water but still dry. The Elmas could no longer be seen. We were floating above a coral reef and everything was moving again. All around us fish swam by in swift darting schools, fish of every color and shape reflecting the dappled sunlight from above. Sharks prowled, stingrays seemed to fly, squids pulsated, crabs sculled across fabulous extrusions of coral. Tuna as big as sheep drifted past. Swift, grinning dolphins raced by in pursuit of their next meal. Lovely. The Elma's voice once more seemed to grow from deep within my own heart. Lovely. And as quickly as our plunge in the ocean, we were drifting above the wavering golden grass of the African savannah. The pride of lions lazing the ground below us, looking sleepily content. Wildebeest and gazelles and impalas grazed and broke into wild, springing, bouncing races that forced you to smile at the sheer energy. There are hyenas, rhinos, elephants, giraffes, cheetahs, baboons, zebras, hawks and eagles and buzzards wheeled overhead. Look at it. Then an instant deep jungle, a lithe jaguar prowled while monkeys shared in a tree canopy above, snakes as long as a person slid over tree branches. The air reeked of the heavy perfume of a million flowers. We heard the sounds of frogs, insects, monkeys, and wild screaming birds. In all the universe there is no greater beauty. In 1,000,000 worlds there is no greater art than this. Then the Elmas showed us the human race. We flew invisible for steel glass canyons in New York City. We drifted over villages at the edge of jungle rivers. We watched a rock concert in Rio de Janeiro, and a political meeting in Seoul, and a soccer game in Durban, open-air market in the Philippines. Humans, crude, primitive, but capable of understanding. Suddenly all movement stopped. We were staring at a picture, a painting, one I'd seen before. It was a wild swirl of color, a painting of purple flowers. Irises, I think, though I'm no big expert on flowers. The artist has seen the beauty of those flowers and captured some small bit of it on canvas. Capable of understanding. Then without warning, we were back at the Yerk pool. The images were all gone. We were in the land of despair again, surrounded by frozen images of horror. The Elmas, or at least the body you made for us to look at, reappeared. That was a nice tour, I said, trying to sound tough, but I felt as if I was turned inside out, like my mind had split into 1,000 pieces. I was overwhelmed. But what's all that about? Humans are an endangered species. Soon you will disappear. I thought of a couple of things to say, but I said nothing. No one said anything. The Yerk race is also sentient, the Elmas said, and they are technologically more superior. They will continue to infest the human race. The Andalites will try and stop them, but they will fail. The Yerks will win, and soon the only humans left to be what you call human controllers. I stopped breathing. The way he said it, like you couldn't even argue. Like you couldn't say anything. He spoke every word with utter and complete certainty. He wasn't guessing. He knew that we were going to lose.